everyone, this is Sangeetha Gopi from MedCity International Academy, and today I'm going to talk about one of the most frequently asked questions in any interview, and that is, describe yourself to me. This question can be asked in various other ways too. For example, tell me about yourself, or it could also be asked as, walk me through your resume. How do you approach this particular question? And it is a question that is asked to everyone, and probably that's one of the first questions that the interviewer asks you. How do you answer? What do you say? Now these are things that come to your mind. Well, I'm sure if you've attended an interview before, you would have faced this question, and probably you would have thought the same too. During my academic years, I've given a lot of interviews. I wouldn't say a lot many, let's say around 4 to 5 interviews, and out of all the 5 that I've attended, I've easily cleared the 4 tests. But why didn't I clear the other one is not because of my lack of my interview skills, but I would say I did a little poor in my written exam. Currently, when I started my professional life also, it's been almost 9 years now that I've been working, and I've taken a lot of interviews. And from the experience of having given interviews and taken interviews, I thought, why not do a video on how to approach this very important question that is asked by the interviewer. We need to say why such a question is asked first of all. Well, this question is asked by the interviewer to get an idea about your personality, to know what kind of a person you are, because there would be 50 or 100 other people who applied for the same post. So why should they choose you and not the 50 or the 100 others who are waiting outside? That's why they ask you these questions, that they get to know your personality. They also want to know your attitude towards work. If selected, what would you or how would you approach the job that you're given, the role that you're given, the responsibilities given to you? For that, they'll need to gauge your attitude. How do you approach a given work? And they also need to see the kind of skill sets you have that will help the company grow. If I as an organization hire you, you need to have some definite skills that will help me in getting my business go ahead. So what are those skills? These are the basic things that the interviewer wants to know when he or she asks you this particular question. So what is the mantra? How do you answer this question? Well, this question, to answer this question, you would roughly get around 60 seconds or a little more than that. So let's say roughly 2 minutes time. You need to impress the interviewer in these first 60 seconds or 2 minutes time that you have. And you need to market yourself basically. Before I give you the mantra, let me give you 2 examples that I've seen through the experience of having given and taken interviews of how mostly candidates respond to this question. The first response given is, my name is Sangeetha Gopi. I'm from Kannur. It's a beautiful place. There are a lot of beaches, and it is known for a lot of beautiful forts and blah 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 blah. Now what is the mistake here? Well, the question was, describe yourself to me. I definitely began with my name, but then I continued about my place. So I haven't described anything much about myself. Why should the company hire me for the place I am from? And how is Kannur going to help the company grow in its business? So you need to answer relevant. Your response should be relevant. You should be able to give the interviewer what they're looking for. So I would definitely say this kind of response goes off tangent. You start off with yourself, but you end your response by talking about the place that you're from. This is one sample that you need to avoid. The second example that I've come across many candidates give is this. My name is Sangeetha Gopi. Have done my bachelor's from XYZ And then I did my master's from XYZ. I started working with ABC, and then I moved to XYZ, where I was there for 2 years, and then I was an accountant here, and blah 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 blah. Now this is exactly what the interviewer already knows, because your resume is with the interviewer. Your academic qualifications, where you've done what, is clearly mentioned in your resume. Also, your work experience is clearly mentioned. So why should you repeat your resume when the interviewer already has it with him or her? You need to try and deliver something over and above your resume. That is exactly what the interviewers are looking for. There is no point in repeating whatever is already given in the resume. So what do you exactly say, and how do you respond to this question? Well, you need to give an introduction of yourself, so your name is a necessity. You might argue that your name is already given in the resume, and that's true, but what better way than to begin with your name? And here, a possible mistake that candidates make is to begin, myself Sangeetha Gopi. Now this usage is completely wrong, and it is not accepted, and I wouldn't say that's a good way to use English. So how do you introduce yourself with your name? You can either say I am, or in contracted form you can say I am Sangeetha Gopi, or you can say my name is Sangeetha Gopi, or you can say it in the contracted form, which is my name's Sangeetha Gopi. One of these can be used to introduce or to give out your name. So what next? Maybe you can add a little about your work profile, and a good way to start that is to use an adjective to describe yourself. It could be team player, it could be leader, it could be hardworking, it could be innovative. Any kind of adjective to be able to describe your personality. So, if I were to give an example, this would be one of it. My name's Sangeetha Gopi. I'm a dynamic language trainer with over 7 years of experience training students for the IELTS, PTE and OET. I'm into resource development and have authored a reference book on IELTS. I also lead the social media team of my organization. This is a very short and sweet introduction about yourself. Your name is really clear. Your job profile is clear. You've described your personality using an adjective. I've used here dynamic. I've said what kind of profile I'm into. I'm a trainer. What kind of training I do? I train students for OET, PT and the IELTS. I've also added my accomplishments and achievements, or my additional accomplishments that I have, like I'm into resource development, authoring a book, and also about leading the social media team of the organization. So I would say this is a very good way to market yourself. Now you would ask me, well, fine, this is if I have work experience. What if I'm a fresher? Let's say a graduate or a postgraduate, and this is my first interview that I'm ever going to give. I don't have any relevant work experience as such, so how do I fill in my job profile? If these are the questions that are haunting you, let me get to your rescue. If you are a student, you can speak about the kind of course that you've just completed. You can also speak about any additional course that you've taken up, your passion, that is your goal. What do you want to be, or where do you see yourself when it comes to the job market? You could also speak about any kind of additional skills and qualifications that you have, probably about a project that you've done in college, and what did you learn about yourself from those projects. These are the things you can add if you are a student with no work experience and would still like to answer the question, describe yourself to me or tell me about yourself. For example, I can say as a student, I'm Sangeetha Gopi. a postgraduate in journalism and media studies. I also have a language training certificate, CELTA, which is awarded by the Cambridge University. Teaching is my passion, and I'm looking forward to be able to train students for the English tests. This is a very good way to begin describing about yourself. And as a student, like I said, you could add on about any kind of projects that you've done in school or some kind of organizations, events that you've organized in college and your role in that. Like, were you a part of the planning team, the marketing team? What skills did you acquire during that particular event that you were hosting or organizing? And what did you learn about yourself? These could be added further if you are just a student and giving an interview. So what is the crux of this question, and what do you need to keep in mind when answering this particular question? There are certain things. I would say 4. When you market yourself, make sure you do not sound pompous, like being too proud about yourself. Well, it's fine to sound proud when you give out your name. That does not mean you need to sound dull. But what you need to avoid is saying that or claiming that the events that you've organized in college is all because of you. Like, you are the ultimate and it's because of you that things have happened. You need to acknowledge that you're a team player and you were a part of team. There's nothing wrong in accepting that. And that'd be a very good way to project. So do not sound pompous and do not sound arrogant or ignorant. And when do you sound very arrogant or ignorant? That is when you probably use a very wrong adjective to describe yourself, like using the superlatives. If you say, I'm the best in my team, or I'm the best leader my college has ever seen, it sounds a little arrogant and ignorant. Probably you're not aware of the skills that others have, or you keep yourself too high above all the others, which is definitely not a good skill that an employer would be looking for. You should be confident, and that confidence can be expressed through your smile. Eye contact that you maintain. Make sure you have a very genuine smile and you look at the person you are speaking to and you respond to them very actively. Do not look somewhere on the ceiling, do not look at the floor, do not bite your nails when you respond, do not fidget with your hands. All these show lack of confidence. So you need to be able to have a good smile and sound confident. And you should also ensure that you are pleasant and energetic throughout your response. So that smile will definitely to an extent ensure that you're pleasant. You also need to make sure that you sound energetic. That means you shouldn't sound robotic or dull. There's no point in saying, I'm Sangeetha Gopi, a dynamic language trainer with over 7 years of experience. That does not sound interesting at all. You should be happy about what you're saying about yourself. So make sure that the interviewer also feels the same. So these are certain tips that I have to respond to that one main question asked across all interviews. Describe yourself to me. Tell me about yourself. Walk me through your resume. I hope this video helped you. Do practice different methods of doing this. And if you have any further queries, do write to me. Thanks a lot for watching.